The Dream of the Wolf is a story from the classic Chinese novel Strange Stories, from a Chinese studio written by Pu Songling during the Qing dynasty. It tells the tale of an official who believes himself to be upright, yet he is criticized by many for being corrupt. This story illustrates how one can be oblivious to their own misdeeds while others recognize them. Much like wolves attacking while the wolf himself remains unaware, such situations are common in the world and serve as a mirror for those in positions of authority. Once upon a time, there was a man named Bai Wang from Hebei. His eldest son, Bai Jia, was serving as an official in the south and had been absent for 3 years without any news. Coincidentally, a relative named Ding visited Bai Wang's home. Ding was often employed in the underworld as a messenger. During their conversation, Bai Wang inquired about matters related to the underworld, and Ding responded with vague and unrelated words. Bai Wang didn't take it seriously and merely smiled. A few days later, as Bai Wang was about to sleep, he saw Ding visiting him again, inviting him to travel together. Bai Wang agreed and followed Ding. They entered a city gate and walked for a while before Ding pointed to a large gate and said, "This is your nephew's official residence." Bai Wang was surprised and asked how his nephew, who was a county magistrate in Shaanxi, ended up there. Ding replied, "If you don't believe me, just go in and see for yourself." Bai Wang entered the gate and indeed found his nephew sitting in a grand hall, wearing an official hat with cicada patterns and a robe adorned with designs of mythical creatures. Banners and insignias lined the sides, yet no one announced his arrival. Ding pulled him out and said, "Your nephew's office isn't far from here. Would you like to see it?" Bai Wang agreed. After a short walk, they arrived at another government office. Ding said, "Go inside." Bai Wang peeked inside and saw a giant wolf blocking the path, which frightened him. Ding urged him to enter. Bai Wang passed through another door and found wolves everywhere, sitting, lying down, and even piled on a platform in the front. There were stacks of white bones in front of the platform, and Bai Wang was even more terrified. Ding shielded Bai Wang with his body as they entered. Bai Wang's son, Bai Jia, coincidentally emerged from the inside and was delighted to see his father and Ding. After inviting them to sit for a while, Bai Jia ordered his attendants to prepare a meal. Suddenly, a wolf entered carrying a dead person, causing Bai Wang to tremble in fear. Bai Jia explained, "Let this act as the kitchen's boiling pot for now." Bai Wang quickly intervened. Bai Wang was anxious to leave and found a group of wolves blocking their way. As he hesitated, the wolves suddenly scattered, howling in all directions. Bai Wang was puzzled by this phenomenon. Shortly afterward, 2 warriors in golden armor rushed in, taking out a black rope to bind Bai Jia. Bai Jia transformed into a fierce old tiger with sharp teeth on the ground. One warrior drew his sword, intending to behead the tiger, while the other warrior said, "Don't kill it. It's a matter for next April. Let's just knock out its teeth for now." They took out a large iron hammer and began hammering out the tiger's teeth, causing the tiger to roar in pain. Bai Wang woke up in fright and realized it was a dream. Bai Wang found this dream to be quite peculiar and promptly summoned Ding. However, Ding declined to come. Bai Wang documented the dream's details and had his second son deliver the account to Bai Jia's official residence, where Bai Jia served as an official. The letter contained heartfelt admonishments. Bai Jia's second son arrived at Bai Jia's place and was shocked to see that Bai Jia had lost his front teeth. After inquiring, he learned that Bai Jia fell off a horse and lost his teeth due to being intoxicated. Upon further investigation, he realized that the timing matched the date of Bai Wang's dream, leaving him even more stunned. He took out the letter his father had written and, after reading it, his complexion turned pale. After contemplating for a while, Bai Jia said, "This is a fanciful dream, a mere coincidence. There's no need to make a big fuss over it." At that time, Bai Jia was bribing the influential authorities to secure favorable recommendations, so he didn't pay much attention to the unusual dream. Bai Jia's second son stayed at Bai Jia's office for a few days and witnessed how officials and citizens alike were being exploited by corruption. He tearfully advised Bai Jia to change his ways, but Bai Jia, responded, "You grew up in a humble countryside dwelling and lack understanding of the intricacies of officialdom. An official's rise or fall is in the hands of superiors, not the common people. If your superior favors you, you're a good official. How can you make your superior like you by being kind to the common people?" Baijia's second son realized there was no convincing Baijia and returned home, reporting Baijia's behavior to his father. Upon hearing this, Bai Wang was filled with sorrow and wept bitterly. With no other options, he donated his family's wealth to help the needy and continuously prayed to the gods, hoping that divine retribution would spare his family from any misfortune caused by his wayward son. The following year, rumors spread that Baijia had been recommended and appointed as an official in the capital city, resulting in a flood of well-wishers at his residence. Bai Wang, however, could only sigh and lie in bed, feigning illness and refusing to meet any visitors. Soon after, news circulated that Baijia had encountered bandits on his way home and had been killed along with his entourage. Bai Wang got up, claiming that the wrath of ghosts and gods only afflicted Baijia and expressing gratitude for his family's good fortune. He burned paper offerings to show his thanks. Those who came to console Bai Wang said that these were just hearsay rumors, but Bai Wang steadfastly believed them. He set a date for Baijia's burial. However, Baijia hadn't actually died. In reality, he was transferred to the capital city in April and was ambushed by bandits shortly after leaving the county. Baijia surrendered all his belongings to the bandits, who stated, "We came here to seek justice for the people of the county. And that's what these things are for." They then decapitated Baijia and asked about a certain individual named Si Da-Chang. Si Da-Chang was Baijia's confidant and was involved in his wrongdoing. The family members pointed out Si Da-Chang, and the bandits executed him. For corrupt Yemen clerks who assisted Baijia in extorting money from the people were also identified from the servants and were subsequently killed by the bandits. After disposing of Baijia's ill-gotten wealth, the bandits mounted their horses and swiftly departed. Baijia's spirit watched from the roadside as an official passed by, inquiring about the deceased person. The person leading the way said he was the magistrate of a certain county. The official responded, "This is Bai Wang's son. It's not appropriate for him to witness such a gruesome scene at his age. Let's reattach his head." An attendant promptly reattached Baijia's head and commented, "For such an evil person, his head shouldn't be placed on properly. Just let him carry it under his chin." With his head reattached, the group left. Sometime later, Baijia regained consciousness. His wife had moved his body and discovered he still had a faint breath. She took him away in a cart and gradually fed him some broth, which he managed to swallow. However, they were so impoverished that they couldn't even afford the journey back home. It took over half a year for Bai Wang to learn about his son's actual situation and send his second son to bring Baijia back. Although Baijia had survived, he could only look at his own back due to his missing eyes. People no longer treated him as a human being. Bai Wang's niece's child had a good reputation in politics and became an imperial censor that year. All these events aligned perfectly with what Bai Wang had seen in his dream. Yi Shishi remarked, "Privately, I lament the fact that officials in the world can be as ferocious as tigers and government officials can be as wicked as wolves. This situation is widespread. Even if officials aren't tigers, government officials are often wolves. And who is more ruthless than a tiger? People often suffer because they fail to look out for their own well-being. To be able to heed the admonitions of gods and ghosts after resurrection is truly profound and mysterious."
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.